I'm going to be going over how rubric grading works. Before I do that, I'm going to show you why the numbers are the way they are on a rubric. So here I have a number line that starts from 0 to 100%. And you have your traditional bands up here. 90 and above is an A, 80 and above is a B, 70 and above is a C, 60 and above is a D. And anything below 60%, so let's just say this is 59%. 59% or below is an F. So if you think about it, an F is all the way from 0% all the way past 50, all the way to 59.999%. So this entire section is failing, or an F. Which, if you think about it, isn't really logical given the fact that in order to succeed, to get a D, all you have is this little section. To get a C, you have this little section. A B is this little section, and an A is that little section. So you only have 10% ranges for A, B, C, D, but you have a 59% range here to get an F. What standards-based grading does is it says this system is numerically inequitable. So it chops off this entire section and starts the grading here at 50%. So now your F is the same distance as the rest of the bands. So it's now numerically equal. So whenever you have a system where you do a 0 to 100% grading, it skews the grade so that 59% of it is one letter. Standards-based grading removes that inequity. So when I do rubric grading, the rubric grading starts at this band at 50% up to 100%. So now all of the bands are equal in size. All right. So that leads me here to this. So then now that we have equal size bands, we have A, B, C, D, F. For rubric scoring, that's generally associated with the numbers 4, 3, 2, 1. And to get an F, that's associated with a 0. I do not include the F or the 0 on my rubrics. The times where you would get an F is if you didn't turn in your work. Okay. So how does that associate with actual scores or percentages? Whenever you do an assignment in my class that is rubric graded, it's associated with percentages. You're not going to see actual numbers. You'll see a percentage in the grade book. So how do I get those numbers? So if the lowest score possible is 50% and the highest score possible is 100%, that's a 50-point range that has to be broken down between these 5 letter grades. Well, it's actually a little bit more mathematically complicated than just 50%, 60%, 70%, 80%, 90%, because if you do it that way, then you leave out a 10-point range. So each range has to be worth more than 10 percentage points. So if 50 is a 0, let me show you this. You have to account for a 50% range from A to F. It doesn't work out evenly. And so what I do is I round the numbers so that the bottom half, the A to C and then the C to F are each worth 25%, which means that it alternates between 50 to 63 is 13%, 63 to 75 is 12%, that's one section of, and then the next section, the higher band C, B, A, 13% again, 12%, so it alternates. And that's the only way to include 50 to 100% evenly distributing throughout the numbers. So let's see how that associates with an actual rubric here. So here I have a rubric. This is my Science and Engineering Practice number 8 rubric. It's about explaining or effective communication. So this is how you're going to see the rubrics. So you look at rubric the 4, the exemplary. You think I want to do really well in this assignment, so I'm just going to look at the 4. And whenever you have a rubric, I recommend first reading the rubric, then doing the assignment. Get the letter grade that you want. So if you want an A, if you want 100%, do whatever it says in the exemplary box. Student exceeds expectations through effective communication of concepts with no errors or gaps in understanding, and a relevant example is provided to support assertions. You would have to do all of that in order to get 100% for this particular rubric. If you say those are really high standards, I just want to get a B, 88%, that's still, a B plus in the traditional grading world. So I will do what it says in proficient. So student proficiently communicates with minor gaps or errors in understanding. However, you are able to provide that example to support your assertions. So there's a small difference between the proficient and the exemplary, but it's a difference between 12 percentage points in your grade. So whenever you do rubric grading, you're only going to see one of these numbers. You're going to see 50% or a 63% or 75 or an 88 or 100. After you have 10, 20 assignments in the gradebook, it averages out to look like a normal grade. So don't worry about that. The grade that you will see at the end of the semester will look like a normal grade. The grade that goes on your transcript will very much look like a normal grade. It's just, it takes time to build those percentages to come up with an average over time in the gradebook. And please trust me when I say, even if I'm not giving grades below 50%, it is still possible to fail this class. If you never turn in work, you're going to get a lot of 50% in your gradebook, and it's going to skew your grade down towards the F range, just as in a regular traditional grading system would skew your grade down to the F range.